supply the best quality produce, and the shop itself suggested this. Behind the counter there were 3 rows of splendid mahogany spice drawers with sparkling brass handles, and on top of these stood large black lacquered tea canisters. One of the tasks I sometimes shared was the weighing out of tea, sugar and biscuits from the sacks and boxes in which they arrived into £1 and £2 bags. In a cool back room we called the Old Bakehouse hung sides of bacon, which had to be boned and cut up for slicing. Wonderful aromas of spices, coffee, and smoked hams would waft through the house. I was born into a home which was practical, serious, and intensely religious. Indeed, my father was much in demand as a lay preacher in and around Grantham. Our lives revolved around Methodism. The family went to Sunday morning service at 11 o'clock, but before that I would have gone to morning Sunday school. There was Sunday school again in the afternoon. Later, from about the age of 12, I played the piano for the smaller children to sing the hymns. Then my parents would usually go out again to the Sunday evening service. This I found somewhat too much of a good thing, and on a few occasions I remember trying to get out of going. But when I said to my father that my friends were able to go out for a walk instead, and I would like to join them, he would reply, "Never do things just because other people do them." In fact, this was one of his favourite expressions, used when I wanted to learn dancing or sometimes when I wanted to go to the cinema or out for the day somewhere. Whatever I felt at the time, the sentiment stood me in good stead, as it did my father. My father's sense of duty, however, always had its gentler side. I remember a discussion between my father and a churchgoer about the prodigal son of a friend, who, after running through his parents' savings, had turned up, penniless and with a young family, on their doorstep. The churchgoer was clear. The boy was no good, would never be any good, and should be shown the door. My father's reply is vivid in my mind. "No," he said, "a son remains a son, and he must be greeted with all the love and warmth of his family when he turns to them. Whatever happens, you must always be able to come home." As this suggests, my father was a man of firm principles. Your father always sticks to his principles, as my mother would say. But he did not believe in applying these principles in a way which made life wretched for everyone else. He showed this in his dealings as a local councillor and later alderman, with the vexed question of what could be done on the Sabbath. In those days, in Grantham, cinemas were closed on Sundays, but during the war he supported Sunday opening because it gave the servicemen stationed near the town somewhere to go. At the same time, he strongly opposed the opening of the parks for the playing of games, which he felt would ruin other people's peace and quiet. For my own part, I was unpersuaded, even as a girl, of the need for these restrictions. But I can now appreciate how much this highly principled man was prepared to bend on the matter when circumstances made it sensible. These upright qualities were instilled into me from the earliest days. In 1936, when I was 11, I was given a special edition of Bibby's Annual, a religious magazine which was an odd combination of character building, homespun philosophy, and religion. It taught me some verses which I still use in off-the-cuff speeches, because they came to embody for me so much of what I was brought up to feel. One ship drives east, another drives west, by the selfsame gale that blows. 'Tis the set of the sail, and not the gale, that determines the way she goes. Or again, the heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. Whether it was that early exposure to Bibby's Annual, or just a natural bent, I was soon fascinated by poetry. Aged 10, I was a proud winner of a